Hello everyone, Cindy here with Monarch Mom DIY. Thank you so much for joining me today on my channel where I love to bring you my best tips and tools to create beautiful home decor on a budget. Today we've got 4 Christmas centerpiece DIYs. The first one is this tree and candles wood box. I'm going to make this wood box out of these wall wood shelves from Dollar Tree, and we're going to decorate it with some Christmas trees from Dollar Tree. So you can see I'm using 3 of the longer shelves, and then I'm going to use 1 2-pack of the smaller shelves to build our box. This is a really nice way to easily make a crate or a long box if you don't already have one. You could even make 2 of these and put them together to make a really long box if you needed something bigger for your table. So these do have the holes in them because they come with the rope and the rings. So I'm just going to fill in the holes with some wood filler and then sand that down a little bit before we paint our wood pieces. I am going to do truffle, this dark brown chalk paint, but of course you could paint your box whatever color you'd like. Maybe you want to do white with black, but I'm just going to do a dark brown wood color. So I'm going to paint all of my pieces, and then once those are dry, you can see I'm going to distress them by going around the edges and a little bit over each of the pieces with some sandpaper to smooth out the paint, give it a little bit more texture and interest to our box. Once all of my pieces are sanded, I'm going to use a combination of wood glue and hot glue to glue our box together. So the first, you can see I'm putting some dots of wood glue. I'm going to fill in those spaces, like I said, with some hot glue. And then I'm going to lift this piece up at a 90-degree angle next to the other piece. So it will make like one side onto this bottom piece. And I'm just going to hold that until the hot glue has dried enough. And then I'm going to come in on the side here and the bottom again with wood glue and then hot glue. And I'm going to fit one of our smaller pieces into the corner here to make one of our ends. So I think you can kind of see how I am putting this together. Next, after this piece is dried, I'm going to turn it around, do my other short piece, and then we'll put the other long side onto the box. Now that our box is all put together, I'm going to take 2 of these Dollar Tree Christmas trees, and I'm going to put 2 of them together to make a more full tree. So you can see I'm spreading out the branches and kind of making it flat on the back while I bend some of these branches out towards the front. So I'm going to do the same thing to my second tree so that where they're going to attach to each other is flat and the rest of the branches are out to the side and the front. I'm going to attach my 2 trees together at the back here with 3 zip ties. I'm going to use some black zip ties so they blend in a little bit better and pull those really tight. Once I have one in the middle, one towards the bottom, and one towards the top, I'll just take some scissors and trim off those little extra pieces. Once I have that secured together, we can fluff out the branches of our tree. Now coming back to the box, I'm going to take some burlap I have left over from another project, and I'm going to take 2 strips of it, and I'm going to wrap these smaller pieces of foam blocks. I'm not poking anything into these. I'm going to use these on either side for our candles just to raise them up a little bit, but I don't want that foam showing. So I'm going to just wrap them with some burlap and set those in the box. Next, I'm going to put some hot glue down in the middle section, and I'm going to put in the tree. I have it already poked into a foam block. I'm going to also kind of bring the branches up out of the way so that I can just very loosely wrap that foam block with a couple strips of burlap. I'm just going to barely glue it down right on the top and then just kind of let it hang down. Once that's inside, I will put my other 2 blocks that I've already wrapped with burlap. And then I'm going to take some of this pitberry garland, I think it's called, and I'm just going to loosely wrap it around my tree. I'm going with very neutral colors for this centerpiece DIY. These berries are an off-white cream color, which is going to match our candles. The excess I'm just going to kind of wrap loosely around the base of the tree to fill in that space. Then I'm just going to set my 2 battery-powered candles on either side, and this is a really simple and neutral. You could actually keep this up all winter. If you wanted to, you could add some words to the sides of your box, but I really love how this turned out, and I hope you enjoyed seeing how you can build this from some Dollar Tree wood pieces. Now, DIY centerpiece number 2 is super simple. I love using recycled materials, and I have so much cardboard around right now. I am going to cut some simple triangle trees, and I'm going to decorate them kind of Scandinavian, I guess, with just a white paint marker. So you can see I'm folding some sheets of copy paper in half long ways, and then using a ruler, I'm drawing half of a triangle. When I cut this out, I will have a perfectly symmetrical triangle. So I end up cutting like 5 of these, but I'm only gonna use about 3 for my trees. I'm just making myself some templates that I can then trace onto the cardboard and cut out some triangle trees from the cardboard. So like I said, once I have my paper, I'm going to place it on the cardboard, and I'm just going to use a pencil to trace my triangles, and then I'm going to use my Fisker's knife to cut those out from the cardboard. You could use scissors, but sometimes when you use scissors, it kind of bends the cardboard. So I have a cutting mat underneath, and I'm just going to keep running my little Fisker's razor knife here until I cut all the way through the cardboard. Once I have my trees cut out, I'm also going to cut some rectangles for the stand. I cut these at about 2 inches by 4 inches, and you can see I'm going to use it as a stand for each of my trees. I'm going to cut a little notch about halfway down in the center, and then on my tree, I'm going to cut a notch in the middle about the same distance going up, and then these will fit together to allow our cardboard trees to stand up. These would look really pretty on a table with just some white lights. I just love that this is using things that you probably already have around the house. Now I am using a paint marker from Walmart. This is an Elmer's. This is a large chisel tip. is what I chose to use for this project. And you can see I'm just going to do 3 different designs on my trees. Now I'm not going to do the back side, but of course if you were putting this on the center of a table, you would want to do your designs on both sides of your trees. And here are my 3 finished trees. I just threw some greenery down there just to give you an idea of how you could use these to very simply decorate your centerpiece for Christmas. I love using repurposed items. I hope you guys do too. Okay, DIY number 3, we are going to make some snowy candle jars. Again, repurposing some sauce and salsa jars that I have, some Epsom salt, some glue from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to show you how you can make these snowy jars. Now, I've never used this school glue, the Jot brand, before. It's really thick, but I'm going to squeeze it out onto the jar, and then I'm just kind of brushing it around, trying to smooth it out. And then I'm going to sprinkle on some Epsom salt from Dollar Tree. This is very chunky and is going to need a little bit to dry. I will also say that once this dried, I did spray the outside of my jars with a clear matte spray to try to minimize any of the salts falling off. Now you're going to see in a little bit, I've also done these where I've used glitter. And that works just as well. You can also use salt, like regular salt. You could try putting it on the inside of the jar as well. I have not done that. I am just, for this example, showing you on the outside. So again, my second jar is a little bit taller. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to sprinkle that Epsom salt out onto the jar, and then you'll see I'm going to roll it a little bit in what's left in the box there to possibly get any spots that didn't get covered. So once my jars are dried and sprayed, I'm going to take some jute twine and I'm just going to wrap it around the top part of my jars here. Every once in a while putting a little bit of hot glue to make sure it doesn't slip off. And I'm going to do this to both of my jars. Now, there are so many different ways you could decorate the rim of your jar. Here, I'm going to take a couple red jingle bells from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to tie them on either side of a length of twine, and then we're going to glue these to the front here so that they're just kind of hanging down at a couple different lengths. I'm also taking little bits and pieces that I have left over from different Christmas florals. Here's just some little leaves that have like some fake snow on them. I'm going to glue 3 of these here, and then I'm going to make a really simple bow out of some of that extra jute twine and glue that on to the center. Now for variety, for my second jar, I'm taking this little decorative piece that was on a Dollar Tree ornament and gluing that on with another little leaf on top. Now you can see the front 2 are the ones I made today. These other 3 in the back were some different jars from Dollar Tree that I used glitter on, and I just think they're also pretty. You can also see how I used some glass candlesticks to make them taller. For DIY number 4, we are going to make some tower block pillar stands. So I am using tumbling tower blocks mainly, and then on top I'm going to use these glass bowls and a little bit of decoration. So I am making 3 pillar stands. They will be 3 different heights, but each pillar stand is going to need 2 of these squares made out of 12 blocks. Now you can see I'm putting tumbling tower blocks together in lines of 6. So 2 lines of 6 will make a top, and 2 lines of 6 will make a bottom. That's why you're seeing 6 squares here. It'll all make sense very, very soon. Okay, so this is enough for 3 pillar stands. First, I'm going to take my lines of 6 and I'm going to glue them together in sets of 3. Once my sets of 3 are dry, I'm going to glue 2 sets of 3 together to make 6. And once my sets of 6 are dry, I'm going to glue them together on the long side to another set of 6 to make a square of 12. I will end up, like I said, with 6 of these squares. 3 will be the tops of my pillar stands and 3 will be the bottom. So you're going to do those steps to make 6 of these squares. And then we will set those aside to dry while we start working on the actual pillar part of our candle stands. Okay, now I have 4 sets of 8 blocks. This is going to make 1 pillar stand. And for each 8, you can see I'm doing kind of what I did before. I'm first gluing them together in pairs. So basically we're going to be making a tube, kind of a square tube out of these blocks. You'll see what I mean in a little bit. But first we're gluing all these blocks together. So this is going to be our shortest pillar stand, and it's going to be 8 blocks high or tall. Okay, once our pairs are dry, we're going to glue those together now in sets of 4. And then once those are dry, we'll glue 2 sets of 4 together to make our 8. So now coming back to the squares, I am going to give them a coat of black Waverly chalk paint on the front, the back, and all the side edges. Okay, at the bottom you can see my 4 sets of 8, and then I have 4 sets of 12 and 4 sets of 16. These have all been glued together and sanded. So I'm going to have one pillar stand that's 8 blocks tall, one that is 12 blocks tall, and one that is 16 blocks tall. You can see on these I've decided to paint them red, and I'm actually only need to paint one of the faces and then the 2 long sides. I don't even need to paint the short ends because they're going to be glued. So after all those are painted red and drying, I'm coming back to my black squares. I'm going to distress them with some sandpaper, and then I'm going to do the same thing with my red pieces once they're dry, distressing them and sanding them. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how I'm going to put these together. I am basically going to use wood glue, and I'm going to glue these together in an L. And then once that one is secure, I'm going to put another long side on. And then once those are dry, we're going to put the last piece on top. So it won't be perfectly square. It's actually kind of oblong, so you can see this is just the blocks, and then on the other side you're going to see the 2 sides. You could do them more in a square if you'd like, but this is just how I decided to do that for all 3 of my pillars, the 8 tall, the 12 tall, and the 16. So I decided to get 3 of these glass bowls that I had on hand to decorate the tops of my pillars, but you could put whatever you'd like on them. You could put the big battery-powered candles like we used in the tree box, but I'm going to use these little bowls with some fake snow from Dollar Tree, these little tea light candles, and then some mini pine cones that I had in my stash. Whatever you'd like, you could put little mini Christmas trees in the bowls. Just use what you have on hand and be creative. So once I have all of these in the bowls, I am going to set them up on top of my pillar stands. First, I'm going to glue my tubes. Now you can better see how it's constructed. I'm going to put hot glue, and I'm gluing it down onto one of the bases. And then I'm going to put hot glue on the other end here, and then turn it over and glue it to the bottom of the top piece. So here you can see what the stand looks like, and then you can put whatever you'd like on top. So these are the ones I made today that are red and black. And then I'm also going to show you a set that I made previously where I made these very neutral with just antique wax, and I wrapped some of the beaded garland from Dollar Tree around them. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoy these ideas, and we'll put them to use for some Christmas centerpiece ideas or just general decor. Please let me know in the comments which of these projects was your favorite, and we'll see you next time. Take care.